Hey there, Chef Critter, and welcome you to another poll question video. The first one I talked about who was the second biggest villain in the Rick Murray situation, like I anticipated. And then you also voted Raditch as the next one, like second place in the poll, but third overall, which shocked me because Rick and all that. And Raditch didn't really hurt Rick. He wasn't bullying Rick. He just left Rick high and dry. I guess because being an adult, he had to handle the situation. And Degrassi was more about the kids and all that. So anyway, yeah, that's huge. And then the next video was about what you think was the best relationship Emma was with. And why I did that, I don't know. Because 75% of the votes went to Emma and Sean. I forgot who was second. I think it was Emma and Spinner. But basically, yeah, she had so many relationships. And, there was a fine line between the top two and the bottom four. So anyway, it's time for poll thing number 3. And the third one was about which Emma, quote unquote, did you like? Basically, Emma went through so many character changes through her 9 seasons on the show from 1 to 9. So I got the 6 phases of Emma, if you will. Phases or faces, whatever you want to call it. And I voted. Now, the one I voted for didn't do so well. Like, I have to vote for my own, one of my options. The voting was a little more close with over 379 votes, so I thank everyone who voted for it. Anyway, the number 6 was College Emma, got 38 votes. College Emma was from season 8 to 9. Basically, Emma, Liberty, and Manny all go off to college together at Smithdale, and Emma gets involved in a few things. She tries desperately to make sure Manny and Liberty are in the same apartment as her, same place as her. So basically, she's so desperate for Manny and Liberty to be with her that she's willing to try to swing people's arms and all that, twist people's arms. She ends up dating Kelly, their college roommate. And, Kelly was supposed to be with Manny, but Emma swipes in somehow. And Emma tries to get rid of her blonde Emma phase, even though she's not really blonde anymore. Basically, Emma is perceives herself as being no fun and basically stuck in the mud or something like that. So she decides to, after ingesting some brownies laced with weed, she calls herself Blaze and basically becomes more fun and basically ends up, becoming a fan favorite of the hall, like the area. Unfortunately, Emma makes him, and one of the roommates has a seizure, and basically the school wants to find out everything. And then they find Kelly trying to dispose of the evidence. Well, Emma realizes that everything's in her possession. Kelly decides to take the fall. Emma tries her best to actually tell Kelly that she would take the fall, and then Kelly said, "No, you're running the risk of being expelled. I don't want that." So basically, Kelly gets booted out of residence and promises Emma that everything will be okay. Emma would still have the guilt a little bit for putting someone in. And, sometimes it's okay to be bland. So anyway, Emma, by season 9, starts the recycle project with Kelly. And unfortunately, it doesn't go over too well. It's not completely well received and all that, especially by Kelly's dad, who said that basically Kelly should be working and earning a paycheck instead of doing something that won't help anything out. And Kelly has this feeling that Emma is becoming a little bit controlling in their relationship. So he goes back to the Yukon to work with his dad. Emma's pissed off. Emma decides to, she has to go through the recycle project all by herself. And basically, Emma realizes that college isn't the best place to be, even though people have perceived her. Emma then inadvertently blabs out that basically she's been chasing friends instead of chasing grades and all that. And that she just doesn't know what to do with herself. And with Manny going off to Hollywood and Liberty going to pre-law away from Smithdale, Emma felt lost. I mean, she could have went through therapy and all that, but basically it was kind of a carbon copy of Paige's problems in college and all that. with Emma and all that. So yeah, and then Emma, drops out of Smithdale. I don't know what she does, but you know, that's not good. And then she gets a job at the Dot. That's what Emma ended up being, the Dot. Speaking of the Dot, number 5 was Emma with Spinner at the present time, which got 41 votes, the second lowest. So basically, Emma burns the Dot down by a grill. Jeez, how bad is the Dot if a grill ruins it? So basically, Emma, Jay, Spinner, and a few other people go to Niagara Falls. Emma and Spinner get married. They both want to break it off, but then they both realize that they need each other. Spinner needed Emma because Jane cheated on him, and Emma was lost without anybody. She didn't really have friends. She didn't really have um, a boyfriend. So basically, they get remarried on the beach with Jay officiating, and Jay actually becoming a better person and all that. So yeah. And Emma and Spinner showed up in Throwback Thursday, which they're still together. They still have dinner with Spike and Snake once a week, and they're trying to buy a house together. Weird. Anyway, number 4 on the list with 54 votes was the one I voted for. Was Zombie Emma, the second half of season 4. Now, of course, the Zombie Emma phase didn't immediately happen right after Sean saving Emma from Rick's gunshot and then killing Rick. Because in the next few episodes, between Time Stands Still Part 2 and Secret, she basically is okay. Like, she's not that bad. Like, she seems to be okay. Well, yeah, she did break down in Back in Black because, people were looking at her weird and they knew that Rick almost wanted to kill Emma. And she couldn't handle it. And she collapsed into Sean's arms and was upset when Sean wanted to leave. To stay in Wasaga Beach to be with his parents because of the guilt he felt about killing Rick and all that. And potentially worrying about how the police were going to go catch him. But after all, I mean, he wouldn't be worried because the police would have went after Sean right away. Maybe the year plus between his appearances, he's 4 and 6, he went to jail for it. I don't know. I doubt it, but yeah. So anyway, yeah, Zombie Emma was terrible. In Secret, she was starting to she wasn't herself. Jay groped her and Emma didn't really react to it. Emma's told by Perino that you got to get up your grades because the grace period after the shooting is over. And Emma doesn't respond to him. And, Snake and Spike see problems in Emma's behavior and all that. She doesn't hang out with a lot of people. She doesn't have people like a boyfriend. Then again, it's like, whoa, how long did it take before Manny and Liberty actually allowed Emma to come into their social circle? Because after all, Emma did push him away in season 4, not on her own accord, but And then she goes to the ravine with Jay. She basically is portrayed as someone who really needs help. I mean, why didn't Snake give her the help she needs? Basically, she'd rather be with Jay. Because she figures that she is herself. Manny realizes Emma's not being herself and tries to make Emma into a better person. Emma soon realizes after a gonorrhea attack and that people were avoiding her that it finally clicked in. She basically yells at Jay. Jay says, "I wanted to be with you because you're virtue," and Emma says, "I don't feel virtuous right now. Nobody wants to be around me." And basically, she then tells Spike and Snake at the end of Secret that she felt upset over how Rick died and the ending of it. And basically she inadvertently tells everyone that she blames herself for why Rick happened because her Orange Ribbon campaign. She feels that she's responsible for why Rick got bullied and all that. But for how bad that was, I mean, Rick brought a gun to the school and could have killed Emma. Yeah, I thought Zombie Emma basically was something to change her character and all that. More on that later. But anyway, number 3 on the list with 63 votes was the nosy, bossy, trying too hard to get into situations Emma from season 2 to the first half. of season 4. Now, there is a massive change between season 1 and season 2's Emma. Of course, I haven't mentioned season 1 Emma yet, because that was an option on the list. So anyway, Emma in season 2 started becoming a little more unbearable, starting at the time that she finds out that Spike is dating her teacher, Mr. Simpson, aka Snake. Emma's upset. She's like, Spike belongs to me and all that. We have a perfect mother-daughter relationship. And basically, it's like, what is she doing with a teacher? Like, we understand that Emma was kind of embarrassed that her teacher would be dating her mom. I mean, after all, in the science fair thing, you know, she won the science fair and she didn't feel like it was deserved because Simpson was one of the judges and figured that his help made her win. Liberty was of no help. Liberty was second. And it was kind of pettiness by Liberty, basically, because she didn't win. She figured she needed to win. And she knew that Emma was like this type of person. And wanted Emma to force like the science fair so that Liberty would win. I mean, Emma, like, we kind of figured that Liberty was just being a sore loser. But also, Emma was feeling upset. But then finds out that the other judges gave her project a good mark. And that basically Snake's judging didn't do anything. It reminds me of the time I was in the grade 9 science fair and I did pretty well. But my sister was supposed to be one of my judges. Was supposed to be judging my project. But, of course, family things. And she kind of helped. Yeah, I didn't do so well. Anyhow. So that was there. She does relent to Spike marrying Snake, but then basically feels that she needs to get into that relationship when Spike is thinking of aborting the baby that she had. And Emma says, "You can't do this. This is wrong." And Spike says, "I don't want a second mistake." And Emma blows off the handle. Yes, Emma was easily triggered, and yes, she should have stayed calm. But Emma figured she needed to do what was best for her because she was anti-abortion. And she felt like if Spike aborted the baby, how does that perceive her? So basically, she decides that she needs to tell Snake everything. Spike's not too happy that Emma had to butt in. But Snake said at least somebody had the foreshadowing of being an adult in the situation. So they decide to keep the kid, get married. Emma feels upset over herself, but Sean tells her she did a good thing. Of course, her causes and all that really caused trouble, especially season 2, Fight for Your Right with Raditch. And the fact that Raditch basically was being a bit of a prick. Emma did deserve some blame in that episode too, but it wasn't the full blame. It all goes down to the adults and the perception. And basically by Emma being told by Snake that you should basically do stuff. And basically, as an educator, I can't help you, but as a parent, I'll help you. And basically, Emma decides to tell on Raditch's policies by blurting out that Raditch is forcing her to apologize with the threat of a suspension. And basically, she outs Raditch, and Raditch is upset. Well, obviously, because now he thinks that the students are going to get all over him, and he needs to take control freak. Season 3, Emma was not at her best either. She was being judgmental towards Manny. I know that in the end that she just didn't want Manny to over-sexualize herself and become a sex object for guys, and she was proven right. Manny thought that it was just Emma being jealous of boys. But in the end, Emma was left behind at a rave. Manny says that you stayed behind to be with Chris, but Emma says, "No, I left straight after because I didn't want to be with him because he has a girlfriend, remember?" Basically, Manny is not too pleased with Emma being prudish and all that, and they break off as friends. And then we find out that Manny ends up being impregnated by Craig, and accidents will happen. And basically, Emma says that you gotta keep the kid. I mean, there's great adoption agencies. And he says, "I just can't take care of a kid, Emma." Well, fine, there's an adoption agency. You can't do this. I think Emma, in a sense, was bossy because she was upset that, she was right in all that. That Manny being over-sexualized actually led to this problem. And that Emma probably felt bad that she didn't prevent Manny from doing this. But it was Manny's fault, in a sense. But, however, Emma basically chose out Craig when Craig was upset over Manny going to abort the kid. Emma says that basically Manny has a right to her body. Her body's her choice. And basically, if she wasn't my best friend, I'd be pissed. And Manny was like shocked that Emma would say such a thing like that. But to me, there's a couple of theories. One is that Emma was probably talked to by Spike. Maybe Spike let Emma know these things. And number two is basically that, Emma was growing up and all that. And basically, things change over time. But also, Emma might have wanted Manny to be her best friend because, Emma and Manny broke off as friends and Emma Blunk first. Like, all that. Maybe Emma said she might as well back off if she wanted Manny as a friend. I'll get to that in a different Degrassi Unpopular Opinion. Number 2 was 73 votes. Oh, sorry, back up. The first half of season 4, the reason why I put that there is because of her wanting to be with Chris, just to prevent Liberty from dating Chris, because she tells Manny, if Liberty's with Chris, what does that make me? And Manny's shocked that Emma would be that way. And Emma has said some very bad statements in the past. So basically, Manny feels like she should tell Liberty these things. Emma tries to tell Liberty the reason why she did it was that because she felt like she needed to be with Chris. But unfortunately, she loses her friends in the process, and Chris for that matter. And basically falls victim to Paige and her clique and all that easily because she just wants to be with friends and all that. I mean, Paige's clique does turn on her because of her helping Rick out, which in my mind was a good thing because, I mean, Emma felt like she was responsible for the Orange Ribbon campaign, beating up on Rick and all that. But of course, that got Rick's attention. Rick wanted to be with her rejecting Rick, and Rick getting mad and deciding to shoot Emma. It all connects. So number 2 is Boy Crazy Emma from seasons 5 through 7 with 73 votes. Boy Crazy Emma was, the result of Emma's problems in season 4. She wanted to be with Peter, was upset that Peter wanted to be with Manny, not knowing that Peter was a monster for releasing Manny's shirtless pics and all that, like a video and all that. Emma was upset that Manny took her man away from her. But then after insight and realizing that Peter was the creep, she decides to, stay with Manny and basically think Peter's an idiot. In fact, Emma decides to tell Manny she's going to get revenge for her. And that Emma will try to blackmail Peter. But then Emma feels like she likes Peter's look and all that. And, she bonds over him. And it's like, what the fuck? So she basically backstabs Manny, just to be with Peter. She gets in a relationship with Peter in secret, of course, because she didn't want Manny to find out that she wants to be with Peter. And then that led to her telling on Snake for his treats with Hatzalackles. Snake's kicked out of the house. Spike's not doing so well. Annie and Emma try to do everything themselves. Emma basically has to pick up the house by herself. And that's when she leads to her eating disorder, and she finally blurts out that she's with Peter. And, Peter does help her out of the eating disorder and, all that. But Emma has a conflict of interest because she sees Sean come back in season 6 and is unsure what to do. She's still with Peter. But because she didn't give a straight answer to Peter about the relationship, says Rashawn, saying that, Emma could have said, I don't think Sean will fit in my plans. Peter didn't feel the need for revenge and basically get into that street race with Sean. Emma shamed Sean to go to jail and basically all that. But however, Manny and Jay told her that she was in the wrong and Emma fixed things, realizing that Peter put a mask in her locker without knowing the combination, except for the fact that Peter's mom is the principal. So basically, she breaks up with Peter, and then, she's with Sean. It's a decent relationship in season 6, which almost fails because Sean finds out that she was with Jay in season 4, but Emma said she was in a dark time, and Jay tried to make things right, but Sean almost left, but he stays back in the end. So anyway, her relationship with Sean deals with the JT deal, and then basically when Sean decides to go to the military, Emma's like, I don't know what's happening. I want to be with Sean. I don't want to be by myself. She has a pregnancy scare. She almost uses it to try to get Sean to stay, but she just couldn't find herself to do it. And Sean doesn't send her correspondence. Emma's without a boyfriend until Damien comes in the picture in the midst of Snake being in trouble for what he did to Darcy, or what he did not do to Darcy, of course. It just was weird. And, Emma with Damien, I think she wanted to be with a boy because she spent so much time without her. And she got, you know, closure with Sean and all that. But Damien cheats on her with Liberty. Emma basically decides to kick Damien to the curb, realizing that she needed Liberty more than anybody else. So that's something if you think so. And of course, the number one, well, the obvious period piece that wasn't touched was Coming of Age Ella from season one. Remember how I said season one wasn't covered? Well, it is. First place with 110 votes was Coming of Age Emma in season one. Now you can look at it two ways. Number one is that they were happy with Emma in season one, like how she got into the world and all that within her TV series, or two, and I think this is the most likely subject, is that basically they hated Emma after season one, and basically, they may have a lot of hate towards Emma. That's why the season one got a lot of votes, but it didn't get that many votes. It only got 110 out of 379 votes. So basically, Emma appeared on our screens in season one. The first major storyline to involve her was big because this was catfishing before catfishing was in the popular lexicon. This was 2001 when this episode aired. That she is in communications with her friend Emma. I mean, not her friend Emma, her friend Jordan, who's an environmentalist like her. And basically, Emma wants to meet up with Jordan, but gets catfished by a middle-aged man who wants to take advantage of a young girl. Thankfully, though, Manny, JT, and Toby, who were also introduced in this episode, find a way out of it and basically gets Emma out of trouble and all that. Thanks to Spike and Snake, too. It's weird how Spike and Snake helped out, and that set the stage for season two. Well, Stephen Brogan's an executive producer, so anyway. However, that wasn't all of Emma in season one. She was learning the pitfalls of junior high and all that, dealing with a boyfriend like Sean, who basically seemed okay, but, after Sean gets mad at Jimmy for, trying to undercut him and all that, pushes Emma aside. Emma breaks up the relationship. Emma wanted to help Sean out because he was a bad boy, and Emma thought she could change him and all that. Emma also had a few massive conflicts with Manny and Liberty. Manny, because Manny was signed up for Spirit Squad, and Paige says that this will help everything out. And we're not going to have any talks about people saying it's sexist because we're going to have boys on the team too. And Emma still says it's sexist, even though Paige says that's not true. But sexism doesn't mean gender. It means the fact that girl cheerleaders are basically could be hit upon by bad boys and all that. Like basically, they like cheerleaders because they're innocent and, they're too likable. Manny figures that Emma was just jealous of the fact that she missed the team. But Emma told Manny that basically, I don't trust you with Paige. Don't come crying to me after Paige dumps you off. And then Manny at the end realizes about the cheerleading and finds out that, Emma was right the whole time and basically breaks up with Paige. Emma does admit her feelings of guilt, saying that she should not have pressured Manny like that. But, Emma was right and Emma was wrong in a sense. And then with Liberty, she found out that Armstrong was comforting her and Emma wasn't sure what to do. People told her that she may have misunderstood the situation. But, the gossip spread around the school. Armstrong was interviewed. Emma decided to go to the principal's office and tell him herself and all that. And she says everything's fine. Thank goodness for that. It says that I just thought that he was hurting you and all that. I didn't know that. And Liberty says he's helping me with my dyscalculia. Huh? It's my problem with math and all that. And Emma goes, but you're so smart. Yeah, but I'm not smart in math. And then Liberty says that basically you should go back to saving the whales and doing environmental causes because being a good friend isn't in your vocabulary. And Liberty was right. Emma tried her best, but it's set the stage for her trying to be this type of character who basically tried to do what is right, but people thought it was wrong and all that. I feel like Emma was basic. They recycled Emma possibly for Claire or Maya. I mean, Maya more so because Maya it was blonde and I couldn't get out of people's businesses. But Maya had an excuse because Cam died, and Maya thought that she shouldn't. She has to do something about it because she doesn't want to repeat of what happened to Cam, and it was never universally stated all that. So yeah, Emma was good in season one. I guess the hate for Emma post season one was palpable. That's why people voted for it. Heck, I would have voted for it too. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Thanks for watching.